Hello, good morning, everybody out there, and welcome to the newspaper review this morning here on Newsbuster TV. My name is Jennifer Wosu, and with me I have.
Good morning, Jenny. Good morning, viewers all over the world. We are glad to also welcome you to another interesting episode of our daily newspaper review. Please sit, relax, and enjoy our paper review this morning.
All right, I'm with Bayo Isaac Ajiboye. He forgot to do the introductions, but it's okay. You know, we have a lot going on all over the country, and probably it's really hit Bayo. So, talking about that, we'll just hit our first story, which is from the Daily Sun, and we'll be going with the major story there, and it says agony as petrol price rises to 617 naira. The writers to that story, it says sharp increase on wise threat to Nigeria. That's coming from the NLC and the CLO, Civil Liberties Organization. Market forces driving up petrol prices, says Kerry, that's Mele Kerry of NNPCL. And why we have hiked price, that's coming from the oil marketers. And you can see, if you have a good look at that picture from that front page, you can see cars queuing up in front of a petrol station, and that station there is in Abuja, and there is a clear picture of the NNPC's pump with the prices there on it. So it's no hoax, it's real, and as it comes. So, Bayo, what do you really think?
On a more serious note, it's quite alarming and is beyond the imagination of what is happening presently with the status of the economy. Looking at the premium motor spirit known as PMS, popularly known as Petrol. Yesterday it was like, in fact,
Could it be real? Can it be
real?
True?
A lot of speculations
thing,
around
yes.
saying as petrol now becomes 617 naira per liter, some are even speculating of 700 naira before the end of today.
Yeah.
And with the level of where we are today now, I believe the federal government needs to do something very speedy.
Yeah, they need to do
subdue
something
the pressure,
speedily,
because a lot of commuters looking at the Lagos roads this morning while coming to work.
It's really vacant. But you know, thinking about it, going back a couple of weeks at the inauguration, the address the president made saying subsidy is gone. It's like all hell has been let loose since after that statement. Fine, even if you do remove subsidy on petrol, what were the measures put in place to alleviate that suffering? How many Nigerians can actually afford petrol at 617 naira a liter? Most likely it's going to rise to 700, and Nigeria being Nigeria, it's not going to be an issue when it gets into 1,000 naira. How many people can do that with less than 30,000 naira basic minimum wage? And we are also looking at, measures for alleviation. The president, well, he might give an excuse that he hasn't put up a proper team to give him advice in his council. But there are other measures. Presently, NNPC and some other companies are talking about, having this alternate gas thing so that they can also give that service to vehicles and motorists to be able to afford gas, co-opt gas into their vehicles. I think it will be better. We've got loads of gas in abundance that we flare.
So this is the very first time Nigeria will experience such huge amount of money to buy petrol ever since we regained our freedom from the military.
I think this is what a lot of Nigerians voted for, so probably they just have to live with the consequences. Anyways, we need to go to the streets and hear what people are saying about this pump price increase. Watch out for this.
First subsidy, to my own little knowledge, before you take a decision, there is some certain things you do. Fine, everybody knew and everybody want the subsidy to be removed. But this refinery issue, what is holding the refinery captive? This refinery, even if they don't repair the refinery, fuel will get to 1,000. If they still believe in carrying our crude to abroad, refine, because it might not be his fault, but what the exchange rate says is what is affecting It's a business. Whatever you go, you get abroad. When you come, you do plus and minus, and then fix your price. Refinery is the key of this problem. The key of this problem is refinery. In the next 3 months, this fuel will still increase more. But it's the poor man that is facing it. The masses is facing it. The transport, the person who is a civil servant earning 30,000 or less. The people who teach in private school earn less. They enter motor 250, 300, 400. This situation is creating an avenue for more corruption. For people to, somebody who does not have mind of corruption, this situation will make him or her to think otherwise. Somebody who does not have mind to steal, to cheat, now will begin to cheat to sustain himself and his family. That is all I have to say.
Well, the issue of fuel, subsidy must be removed. That's just it. There's nothing we can do about it. Subsidy must be removed. But the only issue though, before you remove a subsidy, you are supposed to create a palliative for people. You understand? So that people, the harsh condition they are facing might be down. So I think what the president should do and his team is to make sure that they find something to do for the people. You understand? Like palliatives. Then there will be no problem.
The fuel subsidy, that you remove fuel subsidy is not a bad thing, but there is a way of doing it. When you remove fuel subsidy, it doesn't mean that necessarily the fuel will go up. It can come down. Are you getting me? Removing the subsidy now, it makes the rich to be richer, the poor to be poorer. It did not favor the poor masses, but rather it favors the big masses. Are you getting me? That is it. And I want to let you know.
The fuel subsidy removal, to me, it was a wrong thought, carried out agenda. Because what people, the hope and the aspiration people had when it was coming in is different from what they are witnessing now. And if you look at the economy so far, look at even the dollar. It has, appreciated against Naira. I think now, today is Wednesday, 19th of July. Dollar is equivalent to 840 Naira for now. How does the common man survive? All of these affects every facet of our economy. People cannot feed. If you walk, now this is Ojueleba now, if you walk from here to Costain, just walk. Between that stadium, you get at least more than 2 or 3 people will accost you begging for money. That is a sign of hunger. It's a clear and obvious sign that, look, it's not easy for anybody. So I think he has to retrace his steps in terms of his economic plans for now, reevaluate them and know the way forward. Otherwise, before 6 months, you will see people dying, falling on the streets out of hunger.
Well, my opinion actually, since he came to power, he has made a lot of changes. And he removed the OCS subsidy when he came in. He removed the chief of staff, the supreme, the military service chief, and he was able to make some appointment. Some of the appointment he made actually is a good appointment because he actually used, expert in the field, area of field. So he did well in most of the appointment. But there are a lot of things that still left unanswered. The reason is that there's no way President Tinubu will separate himself from the last government because he was the national leader. As a matter of fact, if he didn't help Buhari, there's no way Buhari could have become president. So he was part and parcel of that administration. So one thought that for them being in power for 8 years, he could have been able to understand the real thing that is happening in Nigeria, and he coming in, it will take no time to fix things out. But the way things are now, it's like he did not understand the country before coming in there.
This fuel subsidy, we now see that many people have parked their vehicle. There is nothing moving. Okay, from here to Ikeja now, we are being carried 400 before now. From here to Ikeja, we are now carried by 700 naira every day, go and come back. So what I'm not happy with this fuel subsidy because the only thing is that we now realize that the Nigerian government is building their own refinery. We know that when they took the crude oil out of the country, they use it and prepare it and mix it to become for an outside country. But then they are even enjoying the product more than us that has the substance of making it as fuel.
Welcome back. Yes, from the same Daily Sun newspaper, ex-governors, technocrats, top Tinubu list of ministerial nominees. Senate received list for screening. That's another interesting story.
Well, I don't want to use such harsh terms, but I think I'll save that for off the camera. But I think it's just a recycling of people, because we're going to see so many people coming back, maybe former governors. A lot of names have been popping up here and there, people who are known to be close associates to the president and all that. Well, since we don't really have such a transparent system that is based on merit, but for me, even if you have to recycle people, why don't you choose those who will do the job efficiently? Whatever parastatal or ministry or wherever they're put in charge of, just do the proper thing. That's all we want. If it's in the educational ministry, put someone who has a good know-how of education and administration, because it takes more than just being a teacher or a lecturer to be a minister. You have to have had solid experience with administration.
Exactly.
You know how to deal with groups. We have a lot of educational groups. We're talking about SANU, ASU, and all the other bodies, the NETs. We've got the NECOs, the JAMs, everything that falls under the sphere of education. And it's not just about dealing with them. How are we going to make education, sustainable?
How efficient they are.
Is it going to, project on our children, on those who need, to better themselves with literacy and all the skills? So these are things that should be cogently looked at before.
And if you could agree with me, this is what all Nigerians have been waiting for before now, for them to know each minister that will be allocated to several ministries, parastatals, and agencies. Because the way things are going now, I believe it's only this set of people that can really be tackled if time warrants. Because in the sense that, talking about the Petrol now, the PMS, popularly known as Petrol, I think there is a designated minister that has been appointed to that section. He will be the one talking to know the influx, where the issues are coming from, and all of that.
Be it midstream, downstream, or wherever upstream. Anyways, we have people who have been in that position, so I don't even want to go there. Let's look at another story from the front page here. That story is up on pages 14 and 15, and it says, "Why I sold my 3 children for 1.5 million naira." That's coming from a suspect.
That's a pathetic story, about to see.
It takes the wind. It practically knocks the wind out of my system.
After someone woke up and said the next thing for him to do in life, so as to curb or to reduce poverty in his or her life, is just to wake up and say, okay, he or she is selling the belonging 3 children.
So that's 500,000 naira a piece.
With the sum of 1.5 million naira.
That's one child going for 500,000 naira. Really, if children were that cheap, I guess so many people who have had issues with conception or building up families, they would have had so many children. But it's a deeper reflection of our society. We don't value life. We have so much poverty. Not just poverty when it comes to the figures. We're talking about mental poverty. How can one get to the state where you actually wake up and say, I'm trading up my children? If you didn't want to have those children, why did you have them? If you don't want them, why did you have them?
If you could also agree with me at this point, I believe it's the high time for the National Orientation Agency, NOA, to come on board for periodical and quarterly sensitization from different classes, middle class, lower class, even at the upper class, because there is a way and manner things are going now in the wrong direction.
Do we still have a middle class? I just wanted to ask that. Anyways.
No.
So either you're up there or you're down there in Nigeria.
But there are still some categories of middle class in Nigeria.
I don't think we actually have an active middle class, because you can't say you're earning, let's say, 200,000 naira a month and you consider yourself rich in Nigeria. You've got your power bills to settle, you've got food to buy, you've got transportation to look at, school fees, one or two people you might need to grant a little help to. So at the end of the day, what are you really left with? Nothing.
That's so sad.
Anyways, still talking about that, like you said, the NOA.
Yes.
I think we should do constant orientation, sanitize people's minds and values.
From values, aside from the hawking on the street, making money on the street, there's a lot of ways one can make money and live a comfortable life for each or her.
Whatever level you find yourself.
And also, let's also be contented with whatever we have.
Yeah, content.
No matter how small, how little it is. And also from the Daily Sun, Senate raises alarm over erosion menace in Edo State.
And Anambra as well.
Respectively.
Yeah, one thing about erosion is, it's land washing off. And this comes from so much deforestation, I have to say. And these two states mentioned here, they have a huge, logging industry where people fell trees constantly. People are cutting grass, trying to expand and build land. So when you don't have these protectors of the soil, definitely your land will keep on shrinking and eroding and washing off. So you can't really have anything to contain it. And while all those structural developments are going on, there's really no proper form of structural maintenance by the government or whoever is handling those projects. So I think people should actually, the Senate that raised that alarm, they should properly look into it, talk to stakeholders in all those places and try to get it right.
I think this word erosion has to do with government at all levels. Aside from the Senate raising an alarm, the state government, the local government area, across the 774 local governments nationwide here in Nigeria, and the federal government itself, through the Federal Ministry of Environment, that has to do with erosion and all of that.
Okay.
We need to through our drainage. Let's start from there.
Yeah, drainage.
Through the drainage, having an enabling environment where water can pass, because usually if rain falls, water will usually find ways for itself to pass.
Yeah, you subscribe to
because
that thought of
water
finding
that, and Lagos as a case study. Lagos is all surrounded with water. We all know. And the little space we have in Lagos, let's maintain it. I'm just using Lagos as a case study. Let's maintain the dry space we have by keeping all our refuse as where it's supposed to be, giving them to Loma, through your drainage, and also don't drop so-called keg. All these plastics where water is supposed to pass while raining. Those are some things that usually led to erosion, because sometimes if all the drainages are blocked, water will pop up and go on the streets.
Okay, that is blocking the drainage. But anyways, it's all about maintaining our environment. That's the bottom line. Anyway, from the Daily Sun, we move on to the Guardian.
Yes.
The Guardian still has the same major stories. Nigerians groan as higher fuel prices shrink incomes and worsen poverty. Of course, when there's a hike in petrol, it's a ripple effect. It goes round in every way. It's affecting prices of food, transportation, and everything as we know it. Anyways, we've talked a bit about that. And the major story here is, going down at the bottom part of the page, we see again, Abia government identifies 2,300 cancelled ghost workers, saves 200 million naira monthly. That's a huge one coming from the governor of Abia State, that's in the person of Alex Oti. I think he's done, quite a few things to sanitize the Abia political scene since he came in. Even if he's from the opposition party, he's doing very well. Abia State is one state that has got potential. I mean, look at the trade industry, like a place like Aba, where a lot of manufacturing comes
exactly.
from. So if that approach can be used and put into the state and develop, better sources of revenue to make that state what it should be. We are talking about a world-class town,
and it's even a welcome development in the sense that for 2,300 ghost workers
to be identified
through the Abia State government, I think I applaud them for the kind gesture the government of the day have put in place to ensure they fish out these ghost workers and save 200 million
monthly.
That's
a lot.
What that really means at the end of the year?
Yeah, it's a lot.
No. So, if these are being deployed
in other states,
rice and beans and all other food items to the at least internally displaced persons, IDP camps.
It
also goes a long way.
There are no IDPs in Abia State, so to speak. I think the only problem they have is with this sit-at-home unknown gunmen thing. But if they can use that money, like I said, pump it into the industries in that state, you will be surprised that the oil money might not even be so much because there's a lot of potential in that
exactly
state,
and also from the Guardian newspaper, Senate unveils Tinubu's ministerial list today.
Let's hope and see. That's all I can say.
Wow.
Let's hope and see.
That means all what Nigerians have been waiting for will surely come to pass today as
not
soon as
every
they unveil.
Nigerian. Some people are really not interested. They're looking for money to buy petrol. All right, moving on from the Guardian.
Moving on to the Vanguard newspaper. Court asks EcoBank to pay Honeywell 72 billion damages that can be penetrated in. But aside that, anger as petrol hits 568 per litre in Lagos, 617 in Abuja and other states.
Yeah, same thing we talked about. Every other
Same
state,
thing.
Jos,
all
Abuja,
the papers,
Lagos,
The Nation, Punch, The Sun, Guardian, Vanguard.
Everybody is talking
have the same
about
headline
the
this morning, talking about the subsidy removal and the hike in PMS.
Anyways, from the Vanguard still, there's a story there from page 9. It says, anthrax, stop eating meat from sick animals. That's coming from the Nigerian Center for Disease Control. And that warning is going to all Nigerians. There's been, announcements about anthrax. It's a biological virus that can affect you, can make you sick, make you paralyzed, and inevitably death will come from it. So you have to be very careful about the kind of meat you're buying. I know a lot of us don't really know where the meats we eat are sourced from, but that means this appeal goes more to people who are livestock rearers.
Yes.
Some are in the habit of selling dead animals to
the
butchers
public,
and
all in the name of making money for themselves.
Please, we don't want an outbreak of something that we cannot be able to contain as a country. We all know what happened during the COVID-19 lockdown, so you can imagine this spreading like wildfire all over the country. It sure wouldn't be good. Please make sure, even if you don't know where your meat comes from, check out all the signs before you do that. Make sure you're not buying meat that is green, which means it's not fit to be consumed anymore. Make sure you boil your meat very well at very high temperatures to kill any possible bacteria or anything still hiding in there. If you have to fry it, by the time it goes through the boiling and frying, I think that's good enough. Anyways,
yes, moving ahead. Exchange rates, foreign scholarship to be suspended for 2 years. Wow. That's coming from the TED Fund. To get the details of that story, just go to page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper.
These things we see, I won't say this thing, it's not one particular thing. I mean, there's so many indigent people who are, on scholarships, especially outside the country. Now, if you have to suspend this, you're going to put these people through a process they are ill prepared for. Because if maybe they had gone outside knowing, hey, I'm going to like hustle and go to school and pay for myself, that mindset is there. But some are not prepared for this. They don't know the ropes. Where are they going to start? They don't have that kind of leeway. They don't really understand the system of wherever they're finding themselves is working. Some have had agreements with that school through the government that for a certain period, their tuition or, their school fees and all this will be sorted. So what comes out of that agreement?
Believe you me, in my own opinion and suggestion, I believe government of the day have a lot to do, because this has to do with education.
Yeah.
As we all know, education is the bedrock of any society.
Well, education is the bedrock of any society. That is the more reason the government should work, towards making our economy what it should be. It's not about borrowing massive amounts of monies from international bodies. Even if you put it back into the system, you borrow money, you make some money, you use it to clear debts and all that. It's not working. We should be looking forward to strengthen our currency, our money, put it, even if it's not at par with certain foreign currencies, but let it have some strength. The president was off last week for an African Union summit. I mean, these are opportunities to make solidarities with other African countries, talk about, uniting Africa, working towards, an African currency that we can say, hey, this is what we've done for ourselves, and this is one of the things we're going to use and push ourselves on the world scene. So those are the kind of things we should hear from the president, not that scholarships are being removed.
Moving ahead.
The next paper is from, the next stories we have are from the Nation newspaper. And we see Tinubu orders release of grains to 50 million farmers, others, as he directs a review of the 8,000 naira cash transfer to poor households. That story, of course, has been making the rounds.
That story also, let's a little bit emphasize on that story, in the sense that a lot of speculations has been around the 80,000 naira to be distributed to over what's the figure of the
12 million
12 million households. How sure are we this money is going to be circulated as expected?
In a country of 250 million plus people, I don't know how many households will be beneficiaries of that 8,000 naira. 12 million households. I don't know whether picking them from, is it from each state or however it goes.
I was viewing people's opinion on the streets of Lagos yesterday. It has been of probably this will be a political referendum
come to
all
think
of that.
of it, what can 8,000 naira even do daily? And you're talking about a monthly thing. All over the country, we've got measures of certain food stuff. You're seeing stuff like rice, that paint bucket.
Exactly.
It goes for about 3,000. And
I think Punch newspaper also made mention of labor kicks against 8,000 palliative.
No, I think we should finish this story because it's grating on the nerves.
Exactly.
How can who are the people who are going to be beneficiaries? Is 8,000 naira what you think you should give to people? You told Nigerians to get ready to suffer for a while. That I'm quoting what the president said.
Yes, really.
Now, are you going to alleviate that suffering with 8,000 naira? I don't know. Maybe it's me, maybe it's the politicians. But I know my opinion might not really count. But for those who are doing the necessary, I think they should work on it. We've got food insecurity to
Yes.
deal with. So the government's releasing 50 million to farmers. Who are the farmers?
Who are the farmers?
From where?
Are they visible?
Okay. Moving on.
That's another story for another day.
Another day. Moving on from the Punch. Lastly, we've got several stories here. The major story here still on the fuel
NLC
price
TUC lambast Tinubu as fuel eat 630 litre shun negotiation.
Oh well. It's still the same set of things we've been talking about. 8,000 naira as a palliative will not do anything. NNPCL, they're the cash cows. They will definitely defend the pump price. And a lot of people are not buying. A lot of stations are not selling. All marketers say they have loads of petroleum products they're still expecting into the country. So what this means is we're going to see longer queues. We're going to see black market prices starting to overtake people again. We're going to see people spending more. We're going to see people cry more. So it's going to be a river of tears for a while. Sorry, Nigerians, but this is where we are. Anyways, moving on from that story, I like how I kind of end things, though not in a sad way, but I mean, we have to face the obvious. And it says, above the masthead there of the Punch newspaper, it says, not central, southwest, ex-governors may replace Adamu and Omisho. Well, Adamu's story.
As the national chairman of the party, APC.
Adamu, I think Adamu was just used for that period of the elections. Yeah, he has done his what he was meant to do. And he's of course he's dispensable, so they're dropping him like hot coals, and there has to be a replacement from him.
It's really effects.
So it's going to be like mini mo in APC, and they pick up a worthy candidate to cheer on their party.
Exactly.
Anyways, it's been a lovely time here on the newspaper review this morning here on Newsbuster TV, and we hope you join us soon for more stories. And of course, don't just leave it at here. Check out our social media handles on YouTube and Facebook and our website for more stories dropping every day. We've got we just keep you detailed and informed about everything, so make sure you do that. It's at newsbuster.ng.
Alright, from my end here, I also join my colleague in dropping the curtain of today's episode by saying, let's have your views, observation, comments, and feedback. Communication without feedback, not yet completed. From my humble self, I remain Isaac Habayami Ajiboye, saying, stay tuned till tomorrow.
Alright, from me, Jennifer, do have a lovely day, and see you next time. Bye now.